Have you ever wondered if the choices you make in your later years are setting you up for a fulfilling and vibrant life, or are they slowly leading you down a path of isolation, neglect, and regret? As we age, it's easy to slip into routines or mindsets that leave us feeling disconnected and helpless. But the truth is, with a few intentional actions, you can transform your golden years into some of the most meaningful of your life. In this video, we'll explore 5 key pitfalls many older adults fall into and, more importantly, how to avoid them. You'll discover why isolation can be more damaging than you think, and how to take simple, yet powerful steps to reconnect with the world around you. We'll also dive into the importance of maintaining physical health, and why neglecting it can have a far greater impact than you may realize. If you've ever felt like your purpose has faded or that your relationships are drifting, this video will give you the tools to rediscover joy, meaning, and connection. You'll learn practical tips to reclaim your independence, embrace your health, and foster the relationships that make life truly worth living. So stay with us until the end. You won't just learn how to avoid these pitfalls, but also how to create a future filled with vitality, purpose, and love. This is your time to thrive, and we're here to help you make the most of it. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. The danger of isolation. Isolation is far more than the mere absence of people around you. It is the heartbreaking sensation of fading into the background, of becoming a shadow in a world that rushes ahead, leaving you behind. For older adults, this loneliness is often a quiet intruder, sneaking into their lives when they least expect it. It doesn't strike all at once, but rather with small, seemingly insignificant events. Friends moving away, the loss of loved ones, or children becoming so wrapped up in their own busy lives that they forget to check in. At first, these changes seem minor, like cracks in an old wall. But over time, those cracks grow wider, and before you know it, they become an insurmountable chasm of loneliness. A chasm that seems impossible to cross, no matter how hard you try. The emotional pain of isolation is excruciating. It's the feeling of being invisible, of your presence not mattering, of being forgotten in a world that never stops moving. It's not just a fleeting sadness. It can feel like a deep, aching hole in your heart that nothing seems to fill. And this emotional suffering doesn't just stay in the mind, it manifests in the body as well. Research has shown that chronic loneliness can have the same destructive impact on one's health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Yes, you read that right. It weakens your immune system, speeds up cognitive decline, and increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. But perhaps the most tragic consequence of all is the toll it takes on the human spirit. A spirit that once danced with joy now finds itself sinking in despair. Without meaningful interactions, the days begin to blur into one another. There are no stories to share, no one to laugh with, no one to remind you that you matter. The smallest moments of kindness or a shared joke fade into the background, replaced by a suffocating silence. And that silence can become louder and louder until it's deafening. It's easy to fall into the trap of wondering, why am I even here if no one notices? What's the point? These questions, though painful, are not uncommon. They echo in the hearts of many who feel forgotten, invisible, or irrelevant. But let me be clear, isolation is not a life sentence. It doesn't have to be the end of the story. You don't have to be trapped in this lonely existence. Breaking free begins with one small act of bravery. Reach out. Pick up the phone and call an old friend, even if it's been years. It may feel awkward at first, but you'll be amazed at how that simple gesture can spark a connection. Attend a local community event or gathering, even if you're unsure or feel out of place. You may walk in hesitantly, but the courage it takes to take that first step will be worth it. Sometimes, It's those smallest actions that create the biggest ripples, ripples that can grow into life-saving connections. Another powerful tool in this fight against isolation is technology. I know, it can feel daunting, even frustrating, but learning to navigate video calls, social media, or texting can be a game changer. It's not just about keeping in touch with loved ones. It's about staying relevant in a world that's quickly becoming more digital. Your voice, your stories, your presence, they all still matter. Don't let the fear of new technology stand in the way of connection. The effort it takes to learn and adapt is more than worth it. And let's not forget the power of giving. Volunteering, joining a group, or simply offering your time can do wonders. Helping others not only brings a sense of purpose but also opens the door to new relationships. Imagine the warmth you'd feel while sharing a meal at a soup kitchen or the joy of laughing with fellow book lovers at a local reading club. These moments, these connections, are the threads that weave a fabric of support and belonging around you. They act as a protective shield, keeping the coldness of loneliness at bay. We also need to acknowledge that pride often feeds isolation. The idea of admitting that we're lonely or need help can feel like a weakness, but it's not. It's an incredible strength. Telling your loved ones, "I miss hearing from you," is not a sign of weakness, it's an invitation for reconnection. Vulnerability is not something to hide from. It's the key to intimacy, and intimacy is the antidote to loneliness. In those tender moments, we discover that we're not alone, that we still matter, that our stories are still worth sharing. In the end, the most precious thing in life is our relationships. The deepest moments of joy, of love, of meaning, they all come from human connection. Whether it's a heartfelt conversation, a simple visit, or even just a wave from a neighbor, these moments remind us that we're not invisible, not irrelevant. They remind us that we belong, that we are still a part of this beautiful, chaotic world. The cure for isolation is effort. It's the choice to stay engaged, to reach out, to stay present, and to invite others into our lives. And when we make that choice, we rediscover not just our connections but the vibrant, meaningful life that's still there, just waiting for us to embrace it. 2. The risk of neglecting physical health. Neglecting physical health in old age is a profound mistake, like slowly allowing the very foundation of a cherished home to crumble, unnoticed at first, but ultimately leading to irreversible damage. Over time, if left unchecked, those seemingly insignificant cracks, whether it's a mild ache left unaddressed, a doctor's appointment missed, or the adoption of unhealthy habits, can add up, creating a structure far weaker than it ever needed to be. It's easy to think that these are just natural signs of aging, that they are the price we must pay for the years lived. But the truth is, this is a belief that only serves to limit us. Physical decline is not an inevitability, but rather a condition often made worse by neglect. The risks of neglecting physical health in our later years are far more profound than we realize. It isn't just about feeling uncomfortable in our skin, it's about feeling trapped. A body that has not been cared for can turn from being our greatest tool for experiencing life into our greatest obstacle. Once, the simple joy of strolling through a park, feeling the breeze on your face, or running around with grandchildren, may become an overwhelming burden. The loss of mobility, of independence, can weigh heavily on our hearts, casting a shadow of helplessness over the beautiful moments we once took for granted. Suddenly, the joy of living feels elusive, and the freedom to move through the world as we wish becomes an inaccessible dream. However, it's essential to hold on to the belief that physical health in our later years is never a lost cause. The human body, despite its challenges, is incredibly resilient. It's capable of responding to even the smallest of efforts to restore its vitality. It's never too late to reclaim a sense of strength and agency. Taking a daily walk, stretching your body every morning, or engaging in gentle exercises like yoga may seem like small actions, but they are far more powerful than we often realize. These are not efforts to turn back time. They are gifts to our present and future selves. They are about reclaiming our freedom to move, to live, and to savor each precious moment of life without pain or unnecessary restriction. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Equally important is the nourishment we give our bodies. A diet full of whole, nutrient-dense foods is not just about avoiding sickness. It's about honoring the life we've lived and respecting the body that's carried us through countless experiences. Eating well isn't a sacrifice or a restriction. It's an act of deep self-respect. It's recognizing that our bodies deserve care, that the years we've lived don't warrant neglect, but rather the gift of health and energy to continue on our journey. Taking charge of our health also means being proactive with medical care. Regular checkups, seeking early intervention, and having honest conversations with healthcare providers can be the difference between preventing a small issue from becoming a major one. Our bodies speak to us. They send us signals when something is off, urging us to listen and act. The choice to prioritize our health isn't just practical. It's an act of self-love, a statement that we are still here, still strong, and still capable of taking control of our well-being. By taking care of our bodies, we are not just preserving our health. We are preserving our independence, our ability to engage fully with the world, and the joy of being able to do the things we love with those we care about. It's not about living forever, but about living well, living with strength, dignity, and the ability to embrace life on our terms. In a world that often pushes us aside as we age, choosing to prioritize our physical health is a powerful declaration of our worth, our resilience, and our commitment to living the best life possible, no matter what stage of life we're in. 3. Losing a sense of purpose. Losing a sense of purpose in old age is not just a quiet shift. It's a profound loss that can feel like the very foundation of life is slipping away. Purpose is the heartbeat of existence. It is the invisible thread that ties us to something greater than ourselves, the reason we wake up with hope in our hearts and the fire that sparks our daily drive. Without purpose, life can feel like a long, drawn-out series of empty hours where each day passes by in a blur, and time feels like an enemy, stealing precious moments while leaving us stuck in a place of uncertainty. As we age, the loss of purpose often begins subtly, sneaking in after monumental life changes. For many, it starts with retirement after a long and dedicated career, the children growing up and leaving the nest, or the passing of loved ones who once filled our days with joy and meaning. These transitions, while inevitable, can leave us feeling adrift, as if the very roles that defined us, whether it was as a provider, a caregiver, or the one who had dreams to build, no longer hold the same weight. With no clear direction or identity to latch onto, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that our best days are behind us and that we no longer matter. This thought, though common, is not only painful, but it's also untrue. Purpose does not have to be tied to a job or a family role. It is far more profound than any title we can wear or position we hold. It's something that can evolve with us throughout our lives, adapting to our changing needs and desires. Purpose is found in the relationships we cultivate, the passions we reignite, and the positive impact we make on the world around us. No matter the number of years we've lived, purpose remains a steady guide, waiting to be rediscovered. Rediscovering purpose begins with looking deep within. It's about asking yourself, what truly moves me? What brings me joy and fulfillment now, in this stage of life? Is it the thrill of creating something beautiful with my hands, the satisfaction that comes from helping others, or the heartfelt desire to leave a lasting legacy? These aren't just abstract questions. They are the first steps toward meaningful action. Purpose doesn't need to be grand or extraordinary. It doesn't have to change the world dramatically. It can be as simple as tending to a garden, teaching a grandchild to bake their favorite treat, or offering a few hours of your time to a local shelter. The secret lies in finding something that nourishes your soul and reminds you that you are still valuable, still capable of making a difference. Equally important is the need to engage with others. Human beings are not meant to live in isolation. We thrive on connection, and the simple act of sharing our wisdom, time, and stories with others can reignite a spark of purpose. Mentoring a younger person, joining a group that shares your interests, or even having regular coffee dates with a close friend can bring immeasurable meaning into your life. Don't underestimate the wealth of knowledge and experience you carry within you. Your life, shaped by decades of experiences, both the joys and the struggles, has a pearl of invaluable wisdom. The insight you have, the lessons you've learned, and the kindness you offer can make a tremendous impact on those around you, even if you don't realize it. Setting goals, even the smallest ones, is another way to reignite a sense of purpose. Goals are like the fuel that keeps the fire of life burning, filling each day with intention and direction. They don't have to be monumental. They just need to be something you look forward to. Maybe it's learning a new instrument, writing your memoirs, or planning that long-awaited trip. The act of setting and striving toward goals, no matter how simple, gives life structure, and it reminds us that there's always something more to achieve, something more to look forward to. Ultimately, purpose is about staying connected to life, about refusing to let age and circumstance define who you are and what you can still accomplish. It's about knowing that even when your career is behind you and your children have started their own lives, there are still endless opportunities to grow, learn, and contribute. Purpose transforms the experience of living from mere existence into a journey filled with meaning, passion, and potential. When you seek out what brings you joy, connect with others, and set goals that light you up, you begin to take control of your narrative. You begin to remember, both for yourself and for the world around you, that you are not just surviving. You are thriving with a purpose that shines brightly, no matter what stage of life you're in. In my own life, I've found that purpose doesn't fade, it changes. As I've entered this later chapter of life, I've learned that I don't need to look backward to feel valued or needed. I don't need to live in the shadow of what I used to do. Instead, I've learned that purpose can be something small, something personal, and still incredibly fulfilling. Whether it's helping a friend, pursuing a hobby that's always been close to my heart, or simply finding joy in quiet moments, I realize that my life is rich with purpose in ways I never could have imagined when I was younger. Age has taught me that purpose is not a destination, but a journey, and that journey is always worth taking. 4. The pitfall of financial mismanagement. Financial mismanagement in old age is far more than just a concern about numbers or spreadsheets. It goes much deeper than that. It's about safeguarding your security, protecting your sense of freedom, and preserving the dignity that comes with living life on your terms. At its core, money is just a tool, a means to an end. It offers you choices, the ability to maintain your independence, and the chance to savor the rewards of a life filled with hard work and perseverance. But when finances are ignored or mishandled, they transform into a dark cloud, casting a long shadow over the comfort and confidence you deserve in your later years. The consequences of financial instability are not just material. They seep into your emotional well-being, like a relentless storm cloud that follows you everywhere. I've seen too many people who've experienced that suffocating anxiety, the constant worry about bills piling up, medical expenses spiraling, and the fear of exhausting your savings. It's a terrifying feeling, knowing that every decision you make, whether it's buying groceries or paying for a small luxury, is dictated by fear of running out of money. That constant tension robs you of the joy that should come with everyday moments. The act of simply breathing becomes harder as you think about the future, and those daily joys that you once cherished now feel out of reach. It's heartbreaking to watch the mental weight of financial stress take its toll, creating feelings of guilt and helplessness. You may even find yourself leaning on loved ones for support, but it can feel like a burden you never asked for, and the sense of dependence only deepens the emotional strain. I've learned, though, that even in the face of this adversity, financial stability in later years is not an unreachable dream. It begins with awareness and acceptance. Take a moment, however daunting it might seem, to truly look at your financial landscape. What do you owe? What assets do you have? What does your monthly income look like? Sure, the numbers may make you feel uneasy at first, but it's a critical step toward taking control. By honestly assessing where you are, you can start to map out a future that's less stressful and more manageable. It's about empowerment, not punishment. Budgeting doesn't need to be a word that feels like a restraint on your freedom. Instead, it's about prioritization. It's about looking at what matters to you, what your needs are, and making sure your money is working as hard as you did. Sometimes, it's the smallest adjustments, like cutting back on things you don't need or planning for future costs, that can give you the breathing space you long for. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about creating a sense of control, regaining your strength and confidence, and allowing your life to breathe easier. One thing I've also come to realize is the importance of seeking help when needed. A financial advisor or trusted professional can be a guiding light, helping you make the most of the resources you have. They can offer valuable insights into investments, savings, and navigating benefits like Social Security. They can also shield you from the dangers of scams and misguided decisions that could compromise your financial future. Reaching out for advice is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of strength, ensuring that your future is protected and you can walk forward with peace of mind. What's equally important, and perhaps more difficult, is establishing boundaries with your loved ones. Family and friends are a treasure, but no relationship should come at the cost of your security. It's okay to say no when you need to. I've seen many people struggle with guilt over not being able to provide for their children or grandchildren, but your financial health must always come first. Open, honest conversations about your limits are acts of profound self-respect, and they ensure that you're not sacrificing your well-being to please others. After all, financial health is not about the size of your bank account. It's about how you use the resources you have. It's about aligning your money with your values, creating a life where peace and freedom aren't just dreams, but your reality. By taking control of your finances, you're not just managing your money. You're reclaiming your independence, your peace of mind, and your dignity. You're ensuring that the later years of your life are filled with the sense of purpose and intention you deserve. It's about living fully, with confidence, and knowing that you are empowered to make choices that reflect your deepest desires. Your financial health is in your hands, and by treating it with the care it deserves, you'll be able to face each day with pride, knowing that you're truly living on your terms. 5. Letting relationships wither. The relationships we form throughout our lives are the threads that weave the very fabric of our existence. They are the essence of what makes life meaningful. Those moments of shared laughter, the warmth of a touch, and the comfort of knowing someone truly sees and understands you. In the later stages of life, these relationships become even more significant. They are the lifeline that offers comfort, the bridge that connects us to the world, and the foundation that allows us to feel like we belong. However, as the years slip away, it can be incredibly easy to let these precious bonds begin to fray. Time, distance, misunderstandings, and the natural course of life can all contribute to this quiet erosion, leaving behind a sense of emptiness and loss that can be profoundly painful. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In the golden years of life, the loss of these connections is not just an inconvenience. It feels like a deep ache that resonates through your very being. Friends you once considered family drifts away, consumed by their own lives, leaving you to wonder where the bond you shared went. Family members, who once filled your days with their presence, become preoccupied with their worlds. The understanding that once existed between you begins to fade, replaced by silence and distance. What once felt like a strong, supportive network can start to feel more like a distant memory, leaving behind feelings of isolation, abandonment, and loneliness. It is at this moment that we may face the crushing realization that, without those relationships, the world seems a little smaller, a little colder, and much lonelier. But here's the truth I've come to realize over time. It doesn't have to be like this. Yes, relationships do require effort, but that effort is what keeps them alive and vibrant. We can't expect them to maintain themselves, especially as we grow older and life inevitably becomes more challenging. But, with intention and love, these bonds can continue to flourish. Even when others seem preoccupied or life seems to move at an overwhelming pace, the smallest gestures, reaching out with a message or a phone call, can reignite that spark and remind someone that they are loved, valued, and important. Another truth we often overlook as we age is that relationships evolve. While it's easy to mourn the loss of friendships or family dynamics from our youth, there's an untapped possibility for new connections in later years. The idea that it's too late to make new friends is simply not true. Whether it's joining a social group, volunteering, or participating in activities that ignite joy in your heart, there are countless opportunities to forge new, meaningful connections. Yes, these new relationships may never replace the ones you've lost, but they offer something equally valuable: a fresh sense of community, purpose, and connection. The beauty of growing older is that it allows us to open new doors and let new people into our hearts. But maintaining these relationships isn't always easy. It requires patience, understanding, and most importantly, a willingness to forgive. Misunderstandings, conflicts, and emotional bruises are part of life, especially as we age. But being open to healing, putting aside old grievances, and giving people, especially those we love, a second chance can be one of the most powerful gifts we give ourselves. We don't have to hold on to past hurt or let it shape our present and future. The strength to move forward lies in our ability to nurture the relationships that truly matter and to let go of the ones that no longer serve us. In the end, it's not about how many relationships you have, but the depth and quality of those connections. Having just a few true, deep bonds can be far more meaningful and fulfilling than a multitude of shallow ones. A handful of sincere, loving people who truly support you is worth more than the vast expanse of social media followers or fleeting acquaintances. These relationships, the ones that have weathered time and change, can provide the comfort, strength, and sense of purpose needed to navigate the challenges of aging. As I reflect on my own life, I realize that the greatest gift you can give yourself in your later years is the ability to maintain and cultivate these meaningful relationships. They offer so much more than companionship. They provide joy, solace, and a sense of belonging. These relationships keep us grounded, reminding us that we are not alone in the world, no matter what stage of life we find ourselves in. The effort we invest in nurturing these bonds, no matter how small, ensures that we never have to face the inevitable challenges of aging and isolation. Instead, we can face them with the love, connection, and support of those who truly care. 6. Fearing change and growth. Change, an undeniable force of nature, is one of life's few constants. Yet, as we grow older, it often feels like an unwelcome guest, unsettling and distant. The comforting routines and familiar patterns that once guided us, like trusted friends, start to feel more like heavy walls, confining us to a life that, while safe, seems increasingly stagnant. I can't help but feel that the deeper we get into our later years, the harder it becomes to embrace change. The fear of it is so deeply rooted in our hearts. After all, adapting to new ways of living, thinking, and doing things takes not only effort but a certain bravery we may feel we no longer have. Yet, clinging too tightly to the past, to what was, can lead to a life that is small, disconnected, and, perhaps worst of all, unfulfilled. We become spectators of our own lives rather than active participants. The fear of change often stems from the gnawing uncertainty it brings. Technology, once a mysterious force, now evolves so rapidly that it can seem almost impossible to keep up. The world around us is changing constantly, and societal norms shift with a speed that makes our heads spin. Sometimes, it feels like the world we once knew has vanished completely, and in its place stands a vast, unrecognizable landscape. And this is where the temptation to retreat into the familiar becomes overwhelming. We want to resist. We want to pull back from learning something new, from stepping outside of the boundaries we've drawn for ourselves. But this resistance, while comforting, doesn't halt the inevitable march of progress. It only isolates us from it and leaves us feeling abandoned as the world moves forward without us. It is a bitter feeling to have the world racing ahead while we remain stuck in place, trapped by our reluctance to change. However, let me tell you, growth is always possible, regardless of our age. Yes, even in the twilight of our lives, growth is within our grasp. The idea of embracing change isn't about abandoning the essence of who we are, but rather expanding the boundaries of our world. It's about discovering new ways to engage with life, to reach out and touch the vibrant pulse of the world around us, even as it keeps moving. Perhaps we can start by approaching change with a sense of curiosity instead of dread. If technology overwhelms you, trust me, I understand the feeling. Why not ask a younger family member to show you the ropes? Take a class. Just think about it. Learning to use a smartphone, or even embracing something as simple as email, can open up whole new realms of connection. It can be a lifeline, linking you to family, to old friends, to new opportunities. Technology may feel like an overwhelming wave, but riding it just a little bit can help you realize how much potential lies in that vast ocean. Adapting to change also involves letting go of rigid expectations. Yes, life in our later years may not unfold in the way we once imagined, but that doesn't mean it's any less meaningful. It can hold even more potential. I've come to believe that some of the most beautiful moments in life come when we allow ourselves to let go of the past and open our hearts to new possibilities. It might mean creating new traditions, exploring hobbies we've never dared to try before, or simply meeting new people. Each of these things, small or large, is a doorway to growth, albeit a bit uncomfortable at first. But trust me, once you walk through that door, the light on the other side is brighter than you imagined. And here's a lesson I've learned. Growth is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about each small victory, like mastering a new skill or stepping out of your comfort zone. Those victories matter more than we realize. They remind us that we are still capable of adapting, learning, of thriving. No victory is too small. And when we recognize that, the fear of change begins to lose its grip on us. It's normal to fear change. Believe me, I've felt that fear, too. But here's the truth. Allowing that fear to dictate your life? That's the real choice. Don't let it control you. By approaching the unknown with an open heart and a willingness to grow, you'll discover a world full of possibilities, all waiting for you to step into them. Change is not something to be feared. It's a golden opportunity to find new facets of yourself and to keep living with purpose, vitality, and joy. You are never too old to grow, to change, and to embrace the beauty that comes with it. 7. Ignoring mental health. As we age, mental health is often cast aside, hidden behind a veil of silence and expectations that are both ingrained and unspoken. Older generations, like the ones that preceded us, often grew up in an era where stoicism was valued above all. Emotional struggles were kept private, brushed under the rug, and seeking help was seen as a weakness, something to be avoided at all costs. This mindset, though rooted in a desire to protect oneself and one's dignity, is a painful illusion. Ignoring mental health, especially as we age, is akin to ignoring a crack in the foundation of a house. It might not be noticeable at first, but it grows, and with time, that one small crack can cause the entire structure to crumble and collapse. The mind, just like the body, needs care. It is not a luxury or an afterthought. It is a vital component of our overall well-being. In the later stages of life, depression, anxiety, and loneliness can creep in, often intensified by significant life changes. Whether it's the loss of a spouse, the transition into retirement, or the slow decline of physical health. These are not just occasional feelings. They are the echoes of a deeper need for emotional care, for connection, for someone to acknowledge that, yes, life has become more difficult, and it's okay to say it out loud. When mental health is ignored, even the sunniest of days can feel dim, and the simple act of getting through the day becomes a monumental task. These feelings are not weaknesses. They are part of life, part of the human experience. The real tragedy is not in feeling these things, but in believing you must carry them alone. There is incredible courage in admitting that your mental health matters. It starts with being aware and acknowledging when sadness, anxiety, or frustration doesn't just pass but lingers. These emotions aren't signals of failure. They're signals from your inner self that you need attention, care, and compassion. To ignore them is to deny yourself the love and care you so freely give to others. And so, I say, speak up. Reach out to someone, a trusted friend, a loving family member, or even a professional who can help you navigate the maze of emotions you may be feeling. It's amazing how sharing your burden and putting your feelings into words can lighten your heart and clear your mind. Opening up about mental health doesn't just relieve stress, it builds connection. It fosters understanding, and it allows the healing process to begin. Too often, we tell ourselves we should be stronger, that others have it worse, that we should just push through. But that's a dangerous mindset. Mental health is not a competition. Pain is not something you need to measure against anyone else. We all have our journeys, and it's essential to honor yours with the same kindness and patience you'd offer to a beloved friend. It's also crucial to engage in activities that bring peace and solace. Whether it's sitting quietly in nature, journaling your thoughts, or simply sitting in stillness, these practices are not indulgent, they're necessary. And seeking help, whether through therapy, counseling, or support groups, is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of self-love. It's about permitting yourself to take care of your mental health just as you would any other part of your well-being. Professional help offers tools to navigate through life's challenges with more clarity, and if medications are needed, they provide relief and balance, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Ignoring your mental health isn't just a personal loss, it affects everything. It strains relationships, creates a barrier between you and the world, and steals precious moments of joy and fulfillment. By putting your mental well-being first, you allow yourself to live with intention. You give yourself the gift of peace, resilience, and the ability to weather the storms of life with grace. Mental health isn't an afterthought. It's the very foundation upon which a fulfilling, meaningful life is built. And, my dear friends, it's never too late to start caring for it. You deserve it. 8. Choosing bitterness over gratitude. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Bitterness is a silent thief, creeping into the heart and stealing the very essence of joy, leaving behind a trail of wounds that are hard to heal. It tarnishes our relationships, twists our perspectives, and clouds the beauty of the world around us. It's insidious, often slipping into our lives unnoticed, fed by the disappointments, regrets, and unmet expectations that accumulate over time. As the years pass, it becomes all too easy to fixate on what could have been, to linger on losses and missed opportunities, and to let resentment take root deep within us. But I've learned, through personal reflection and experience, that choosing bitterness over gratitude is a path that leads to a barren heart, one that isolates you from love and joy. It blinds you to the beauty that still exists in life, and before you know it, you become so consumed by it that it's almost impossible to see anything else. Bitterness often begins with unresolved pain, and sometimes that pain feels like an unshakable weight, a constant reminder of the things that didn't go as planned. Maybe it's the memory of a relationship that left scars, the career you never had the chance to pursue, or even the unfairness of life itself. These feelings are entirely valid. They are part of being human. But holding on to them doesn't just hurt. It's like drinking poison, expecting the world around you to suffer. It doesn't change a single thing about the past. It only keeps you trapped in the present, weighed down by a cloud of negativity that keeps you from moving forward. This bitterness wraps around you, restricting your breath, your ability to connect, and your capacity to experience joy. I know firsthand how it can feel like a never-ending cycle, with no way out. But there is a way out. Gratitude, though it may seem like a simple concept, holds the power to transform even the darkest days. It doesn't erase the pain, and it certainly doesn't ignore hardship. But gratitude shifts your focus. It redirects your attention from what's missing to what's still present, even if it feels small. I've realized that gratitude is a practice, not just a fleeting thought. It's an intentional, conscious choice we make each day to acknowledge and appreciate the good, even if it's as simple as feeling the warmth of the sun on your face or hearing the laughter of a loved one. It's about looking for those little sparks of joy, no matter how fleeting they may be, and holding on to them. Gratitude invites us to see the beauty in the mundane, the miracle in the small things, and the love that's always around us if we choose to see it. Choosing gratitude for me began with letting go of the weight of old grudges, past hurts, and regrets. It wasn't an easy choice, but it was a necessary one. And I realized that I had to do it, not for anyone else, but for my peace. Holding on to bitterness kept me tethered to the past, and I was no longer willing to live there. Forgiveness, I've learned, doesn't mean forgetting or excusing the wrongs that have been done to you. It doesn't mean you erase the hurt, but it does mean you stop letting it control you. Forgiveness is about releasing yourself from the chains of resentment, and when you do that, you take back the energy that bitterness consumes and redirect it toward the people, moments, and things that bring you joy. In embracing gratitude, I've found that being present is the key. Life is happening right now, in those quiet, often overlooked moments. Gratitude reminds me to savor those moments, to hold them gently in my heart. I write them down in my journal, share them with those I love, and sometimes I just sit quietly, letting the warmth of a moment fill me. Gratitude, in its purest form, is a radical act of self-love and acceptance. It's about seeing the good even when life feels hard and choosing joy, even in the smallest of things. By making this choice, we can begin to unravel the bitterness and open ourselves up to the fullness of life, embracing the beauty that's always there, waiting for us to notice it. As we wrap up today's reflection, I want to leave you with one important question. What have you learned from all of this? Bitterness can easily take root if we allow it, but gratitude holds the power to transform our hearts and our lives. I encourage you to reflect on one thing you've learned today and how you might bring it into practice in your own life. Perhaps it's choosing gratitude over bitterness, forgiving yourself and others, or simply being present in the small, beautiful moments each day brings. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please take a moment to comment below and share one thing you're going to practice or focus on moving forward. Your insights could be the encouragement someone else needs. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and remember, the power to choose a joyful, fulfilling life is in your hands.